Welcome back, nerds and turds, to another live stream repair. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It looks like 7 that we need to cruise through here. So let's jump right on into it. We briefly started with this HomePod on yesterday's stream, but ran out of time. So we're going to pick right back up on it. This is the better condition of the two that they sent in. One of them has no power. One of them has blinking volume buttons. And we made a little deal. I love making deals. They sent in 2 broken HomePods, and I will send them back 1 fixed working HomePod in return for keeping all of the leftover parts. Chances are I'll be able to make mostly another working HomePod out of those little parts, but parts are parts and I need parts. Boy, do I need them. I have no idea where this logic board came from. Okay. Anyways, we're gonna get this fully torn down and do a little bit of maintenance. We're gonna put it back together with a fully functioning logic board, and we'll send it on its way back home. So this guy, I'll put this in my pile of boards to try to de-brick later. I don't have many left, but we shall see. I'll grab a good working logic board here. I think there is a HomePod in the queue waiting to get looked at for blinking volume buttons. So we'll see if that one can be restored here. If you were curious what that liquid is that I dropped in a minute ago, that is isopropyl alcohol. Helps make pulling this off a lot easier. Subwoofer smells to be in great shape. A good woofer will never smell bad. Oh man, the subwoofers I've sniffed over the years. We've had some good ones. Smells like people's like perfume or their soap or whatever. We've had ones in that smell like nothing, which is usually the case. We've had ones that smell like some of our life expectancy was taken away, and speaking of which, of course, one of the screws for the power supply broke clean off. I don't know what kind of thread locker they use, but it seems a little excessive for it to be stronger than the screws it's holding in. Luckily, we can fix that. We can work around that. It's in a crappy spot, so I don't think we'll be able to get the vice grips on that broken screw and twist it out. We'll have to break the stud off from the back of the board and solder a new stud in place. You'll see what I'm talking about in a second here. Chances are that if you work on Homepods, this will happen to you at some point. But there it is. That should have come out with the rest of the screw, and it did not. I thought I had vice grips. In fact, I know I do. I just had them. Where did they go? Here they are. Okay. Tony, oh my goodness. Long time no talk. As you can tell, we're still at it and we're not going anywhere. Let's see, can I get... Yeah, that screw's not moving. So we're gonna need to do the uglier route. We're gonna vice grip right onto that sucker and rip it clean off the board here. This is very risky. I do not suggest you do this yourself. Get a good grip on that, so we don't want it slipping off. And then we're going to do a very careful twisting motion. We don't want to pry it off like this. We want to twist it loose first, otherwise we can easily damage that PCB. And while we're twisting, we want to make sure we don't knock off any of those components mounted on the surface there. So here goes nothing. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. I need to grab a parts board, and we are going to do basically the same thing. We don't have to be as careful. We're going to grab a good one without a broken screw in it. we go. We'll put that in somewhere. This guy, we'll go ahead and use just a little bit of glue to hold it down. I said a little bit of glue. Alright, but what's actually going to hold it in there if we just leave it like that, or even heck, even if we tried to glue that in there, unless we had some seriously good glue, that's just going to pop right back out. So what I like to do is actually go around this and hit it with a little bit of solder. It's not going to look pretty, but it's going to be quite functional, and it'll hold better than the factory did. Alright. That is not going anywhere. Let's do some maintenance. Let's do some actual fun stuff. Let's make this repair worthwhile. And we're going to replace those DC filters right there first. These tend to go bad over time and lead to death farts and other base issues, so even though they're technically really not paying us money for this repair, they're just trading in another broken HomePod for the job. We are going to do everything the same. We don't want to give this HomePod any reason to come back to us. How many requests have we gotten for the blinking volume buttons? I'd say we've gotten about a dozen, about 12 to 20 requests for those. I would imagine most people that have held on to their HomePod for this long, hoping for a fix, are typically going to be the kind of person that'll try to do it themselves. And you totally can. There's a 3D printable adapter. You can order yourself some pogo pins and try it out yourself. And that's if you feel confident, that's absolutely what I prefer people to do. And then you've got the dongle. So if it ever breaks itself again, you can restore it yourself again. I offer the service if you want me to debrick it and or do routine hardware maintenance. But I like options. don't know what's going on right here. Oh, I know what's going on. I know what that is. That is us not soldering those pads. That's more like it. Alright. Catastrophe it appears right now, but just you wait. There we go. Let's clean that up. Make it pretty. I will be selling pre-made adapters soon. It'll be Tim Starr's design, and he'll get a cut of each one sold. For those that don't have access to making their own, it'll be like $20-25. It depends on how cheap I can get everything together and how easily I can make it to assemble. But in the next day or so, I hope to have that up on my website and people can start ordering those. Alright. Aaron, welcome. Oh yeah, I'll send you my email, I'll send you my email. Of course you'll get my email. Well, you'll get an email with my address here soon. let's put this thing back together. I'm not sure if you've gotten your pods back yet. I haven't checked the tracking. If it says tomorrow, I think it should be final delivery by USPS. If it's in your town and it says it'll be delivered tomorrow, then chances are it will. I know USPS still delivers on Sundays. I am very excited for you to get that. So it is a UPS tracking number, but for the final delivery, they pass it off to USPS. That is, that's the UPS SurePost. And it's really convenient for me because I can drop it off at the UPS store with most of the other stuff, and that's where I can pick up my packages for the day. That's where my mailbox is, of course. And it's not any slower than any of the other services, the ground services, that is. USPS hasn't gotten it yet. Okay. Dang. Well, in that case, yeah. UPS is closed on the weekends, so if USPS hasn't gotten their hands on it yet, I guess you'll be waiting till Monday. You guys want to see what I've been working on in the background here? Just a little sneak peek. I've got this broken SingCell Alpha speaker, and I have managed to get the control ring and main stem off without any damaging or scratches. There's this big, I think it's like a T10 Torx screw in here. I got that loosened up, but that's about as far as I can get right now. I can't seem to get anything else to budge. So, slowly trying to crack that open without breaking it. Let's grab a new screw for the power supply. If you don't remember, you weren't here when we started, that screw broke clean off the amplifier board when we were taking it out, thanks to the insane thread locker they use. And we had to break the stud off the board and replace it with another one. Homepods 17.6 pushed earlier this week. Update required to view timers and alarms. Jeez. All I ever use my Homepods for are AirPlay and turning the living room lights on and off. And pretty much for as long as I've had them, they've done that very well. There was the bug around Audio OS 15 era, where there was that really loud pop and then the restart. It wasn't the same as death farts. It was actually just a software issue. And thankfully, they managed to push a fix out for that. There was one of my personal pods that did break itself that I had to swap out. But that logic board has been long mixed into the pile of bricked logic boards, and if I'm not mistaken, it did get restored successfully. And I very well remember that HomePod because it was the first HomePod I had ever colored. And I posted some pictures up on Reddit of it. And it was like 4 to 8 months later, I came home and it had just bricked itself out of nowhere, blinking volume buttons. And it was like, out of all the things that I can fix, out of all the problems people send their HomePods in for, mine has to do the thing that I can't, well, at the time, couldn't fix. Yuck. But here we are. Since it's a Gen 1, is it safe to update as high as it can go? I say it appears... Excuse me, I say it appears so. That's what I personally do. I try to keep my HomePods on the latest version. Prior to being able to restore them via software, I would wait a couple days, make sure the masses weren't reporting serious issues updating, and then I'd push them to my own. I would maybe try it out on one or two just to make sure, and at least, you know, if someone asked me about it, I'd be like, yeah, it works on a couple that I tried on. Haven't updated all of mine yet. But anyways, I like to stay up to date unless there's any known reason not to. There's no reason to believe Apple's just gonna push an update out that's gonna neuter half the features. They might push versions out that'll cause bugs, but take a look at the old airport routers. Those are still ticking and kicking. Heck, years after they discontinued them, they pushed a firmware update out to the Express V2 that gave it native AirPlay 2 support. I've got about a dozen of those. Oh, and it's so great. 10 to 20 bucks and you can find one of those little Airport Express V2s used and give yourself another AirPlay 2 speaker to go alongside your HomePods or whatever other AirPlay setup you have. And it's got the, not just the 3.5mm auxiliary output, but it's got the the Toslink, the optical audio, for those that prefer that. Oh, it's just perfect. So what you can do is you've got your HomePods in the living room for your surround sound, and then you hook up a big, beefy freaking subwoofer to an Airport Express V2, add that to the AirPlay speakers. You've got a pretty banging setup. Now that comes with some drawbacks. I think if you're not airplaying to a HomePod, then if you're using Dolby Atmos and some of the other audio tricks, they turn off and it gets down mixed to stereo. But don't quote me on that. You'll have to look into the fine details of that. But the gist is, easy peasy to add a subwoofer to your HomePod setup. Alright, we should have one fully refreshed and functioning HomePod here. Perfect. Alright, let's put that away and break out the next one. We've got two more HomePods from Nicholas here. Let's see what we're dealing with. I think they're both no power. Let's check those out. Two HomePods, no power. All right. Number one. Let's see what it does for us. No lights, nothing at the top there. Couple of watts being pulled from the wall. So that tells me it is the usual crappy diode failure. Let's get this taken apart and fixed up. We'll be doing pretty much the same thing. This one obviously still has a good logic board, but we'll get to that amplifier. We'll do a little bit of preventative maintenance by replacing those ceramic capacitors. And then we will replace that Schottky diode that's causing their current problems. Easy peasy. I would really like to see more people doing live stream electronics repairs. Even if you can't get the whole thing fixed in one sitting, there's a lot of valuable information you can end up sharing directly or indirectly by just flipping that camera on and sharing your work. Nothing to hide. When we first started doing these HomePod repairs, goodness, it would take us, what, 30 to 45 minutes each HomePod? At the least. And now we've gotten it down to a point where if it's a common issue, you can get it apart, fixed, and back together again in under 30 minutes. I think the fastest I've gotten one done, that was new diode and replacement filters. Fully reassembled and working again. 17 minutes flat. I haven't made a very serious attempt in a while. I probably should before it gets too cold and it slows my hands down, though, huh? I must maintain the record for fastest HomePod repair. I don't think there's any competition out there, but we'll keep it that way. There we go. Sorry, my big fat head was blocking the view, but... Let me go ahead and straighten those bottom ones out a little bit. "15 minutes, oh man, that's really pushing it. I'd have to have all of my spare parts, or my replacement parts, laid out and ready to go. I think it's possible, but I think I'd probably only be able to do it once. Oddly enough, it's when I'm just zoned out and not really thinking about it do I end up going through them quicker than not. It's kind of like highway hypnosis, but for HomePod repair. I guess it's to be expected when you've done thousands of them. Wow, that one made the camera shake. You ever turn your computer monitors on and as they warm up, the plastic settles in? A Series of Unsettling Sounds, Volume 1, featuring monitors warming up, opening Xbox 360s, and your favorite, opening Apple Homepods. Alright, we've got fresh filters on here that should keep those death farts away for a long time. We've got a new Schottky diode on here that should permanently fix the power issue. The reason why those diodes fail and cause no power is for pretty much no other reason than bad manufacturing. Only a particular date range of those diodes fail, so thereby replacing it with a new one that'll resolve the problem. But we also use a slightly higher rated diode that's also held to slightly higher manufacturing standards. Ironically, that part it ends up being cheaper than the exact same part that Apple used, which that's probably supply and demand or whatever economy memes at play there, but it works out for us. The better diode for less. Let's see, I could get taking it apart down in under 7 minutes. If I could get putting it back together, oh man, I'd have to take it apart in 5 or 6 minutes. So that way I had 7 or 8 minutes to put it back together and 1 to 3 minutes to do the actual repair. All in under 15. There's a trick to this ring. Line up the notch with the ribbon cable, then rotate it counterclockwise until it settles down. That's about 50 degrees, or that's about 95 degrees. Wow. And then line it back up with the ribbon cable. It should not come out when you lift it up. And then when you put this in, this should pretty much sit a little bit below the lip of the shell. Alright. Knock knock. Here is their second HomePod. Presumably the same issue, so it'll get the same exact repair. Alex, welcome, welcome. Appreciate the compliments. We've been through quite a few of these by now, so...
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet.
We do make it look easy, don't we? Alright, here is their second one. Like I said, it should be the same issue. Let's take a quick peek-see. For sure, we've got nothing lighting up, and we've got a couple of watts getting pulled out of the wall. So, let's get to it. Oh man, I remember when I took my very first HomePod apart. That was an interesting one. And if that was how they all would go, I probably never would have gotten into this. It took somewhere between like 40 minutes to an hour for me to just get that plastic top off. And then, of course, I peeled the wrong layer of the display up. That didn't cause any damage, but a learning moment. And then, once I got inside and took that amplifier out to see to see what was wrong, and I found it was indeed that pesky little diode. I didn't have a hot air gun at the time. All I had was, well, this soldering iron, but I didn't have this guy. And that's really what you need to get the job done. But I somehow managed. Oh my goodness, here we have it again. So from the factory, Apple thought it was necessary to tie an extra length of drawstring to the end of this. So we've got an extra inch or so of space gray drawstring on that white one. And I mean, look at that. It's almost as long as the other one that they just left alone. I don't know why. I mean, it was probably just barely... So I don't know, man. Are they messing with us now? Like, this is the second one in the past week we've seen like this. That's very strange. Very strange coincidence. Get our 99% isopropyl alcohol. That's going to help us pry the speaker basket up in a minute. Yeah, even if we loosen this all the way up, there is absolutely plenty of length left. Nicholas, you've got yourself a slightly special HomePod here. subwoofer. Smells great. Don't you play these games with me. I do not want to extract another broken screw. Oh my goodness. Two in one day, man. This is rough. Is this one gonna do it too? It should be illegal to use this kind of thread locker. Oy vey. Well, you guys get one heck of a show today. It's the exact same. No, it's in a different side this time, but I'm just gonna rip that stud right off and replace it. I'm not even gonna try to take that screw out. Alright, where's the vice grips? There's our guy. He's broken clean off, ain't he? That is the same spot. That's the same one as the last time. And then a nice, careful twisting motion. There we go. You suck. I'll put that somewhere. Oh yeah, no, we still need these. Let's grab that parts board again. And we'll take another stud off of it. Unbelievable. 2 in one stream. Release. Release. Alright, same deal. Let's get a little glue on here to help hold it in place. Beautiful. And then we will solder, put a little bit of solder on there to help hold it in there real good. All right. Now we can fix what it came here for. Let's get those filters replaced first so that it doesn't have death farts anytime soon. Fantastic. Let's get that dead diode out of there. It is really nice when those filters flow right into place. I had some solder that I was using for those at one point that it worked so well. You could just throw those replacement caps on there, heat the board up, and they would float perfectly into place every time. It was fantastic. Turned out the solder was crap. in the sense that it would crack. It wasn't very good stuff. So that sucked. But it flowed really nice. I'm gonna go grab some water. There we go. At this rate, I'm gonna run out of power supply screws. And there we go. 2 for 2 for Nicholas. Let's see what we've got next. Let's see. We've got Chris up next. Let's get their info pulled up and shoot them an email. Let's see. Chris with... Oh, I actually know what's wrong with Chris's HomePod.
I'm having trouble. I'm having trouble.
Let's get it out and take a look. I am going to take the sticker with identifying information off of the top of this. We obviously don't want that on our stream here. Let's see what it's doing. Looks like no power. Let's get this fixed up. It looks like it's going to be the usual. A new diode and some filters to complement it. Just to be clear though, the diode that fails and causes no power has nothing to do with the filters that fail and cause death farts. But both of them fail often enough that we replace them both even if a HomePod's only got problems with one of them. Is that okay? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that is a perfectly fine subwoofer. Please don't break, please don't break, please don't break. Thank you. I don't think I can handle 3 broken power supply screws tonight. Here we go. First up, our filters to keep the death farts away. Beautiful. Let's take care of the actual power problem now. And another 46K dated diode. No one is surprised. That child is going wild. Alright, we'll be sure to clean that up before we send it back to them. Of course, we don't want to leave it like that. Let's see if it works.
I'm having trouble connecting to the
Very
internet.
good.
For more info, check the Home app.
Volume buttons light up nice and even. All right. Next up will be Frank, because I apparently did not put their name up. All right. Let's see. Frank has a random loud buzzing noise while playing music or not. I wonder what that could be. Let's get this out of here. Okay. Making progress. There we go. Can't say you didn't pack it well. Looks like we do have a little bit of a casualty right there. I don't know if the power cable was rubbing up against that or if it was already like that before they sent it to us, but in any case, we just like to make a note of how things show up to us so that way no one's surprised, you know? Anyways, I wonder if that has anything to do with their actual problem. Let's take a listen here, see, and figure out what this thing is doing. Bees nest inside. I'd be impressed if some bees found their way inside of these, but that is not the worst idea. Oh boy. Alright, so that is the very classic DC offset. So this is the exact problem that we are preventing by replacing those 4 ceramic capacitors on the back of the amp before we replace those diodes. Eventually, those capacitors go bad, as all ceramics do, and that can lead to some rather nasty behavior. That popping is one of them. Hopefully the subwoofer is still in good shape. And we don't need to replace that. What happens when those filters go bad is they allow more and more DC voltage through the amp as they get worse, and the amplifier is going to do its job and amplify that DC voltage, and it's going to send that through parts that don't want to see DC voltage. The subwoofer being the primary guy. Hopefully, it just blew up some components on the amplifier before it fried the woofer and we got to it soon enough. Alright, I want to pull this all the way down and make sure that... Wow. Yeah, that's pretty gnarly. But that didn't seem to have actually damaged anything, so... Oh, I don't want to even smell this when it's roasted. That does not make me happy. But we do what we must. And must we have another good subwoofer that is in perfect shape. Let's get this fully disassembled so we can repair the reason that subwoofer had a meltdown. Alright, it looks like we've got quite the list of casualties here. So we had that subwoofer that blew up. I can see on the top of the amp here, we've got that resistor next to the subwoofer connector. The 10 ohm resistor is looking not too hot. What is the date code on our diode? We've got a 52K there, so that diode is never going to fail and cause no power. A little dusty, but here are our filters. Those are what went bad, caused all this havoc. Let's get them replaced first, and then we'll take care of that roasty resistor. Be free, my filters. Let's get that resistor replaced. Easy peasy. That's a little crooked. There we go. It doesn't really matter on that part in particular, but there we go. That should be one happy amplifier. Let's get it back together with a happy subwoofer, and this will be a happy HomePod. All right.
I'm having trouble
There we
connecting
go.
to the internet. For more info, check the home app.
That sounds great. All right. We've got Ron and James. What is wrong with James's HomePod here? We've got a software brick. Oh boy. Well, we don't know if it's a software brick yet. It does have blinking volume buttons, I believe. Let's take a look and see if this is one that we can fix this up without any hassle. Here it is. Let's plug it in really quick and see it turns on. So they say their HomePod does have the blinking volume lights. That can take a minute or so to show up, so what we're going to do is we'll go ahead and take this logic board out and we're going to hook it up to my test pod with the dongle connection. Alright, we got the goods. Let's see what this shows up as. If it shows up as recovery mode, then we'll go ahead and try to restore it. It looks like... Oh, it's working. Why does it work?
I'm having trouble connecting to...
James, why does it work? Alright. Huh. Well, I guess we will put James's to the side. It's possible that his has a hardware issue with the BGA or the NAND chip, and those kinds of issues can definitely change behavior based on temperature. So we'll set this one to the side for now. I think I'll leave it plugged in over the weekend and see if it misbehaves. Maybe we just got incredibly lucky and it unbricked itself, but I mean, I didn't really do anything, so there's nothing for me to charge for yet. But I guess that brings us to our last HomePod here from Ron. What's wrong with Ron's HomePod? It's got no power. Now that I'm remembering when we were testing James's HomePod there, I could have swore that the boot animation went away right before I unplugged it from power. I'm gonna have to go back and look, and if that's the case, then it had already debricked itself before we even moved everything over. All right. The last melon. Oh. Personal information. Thank you. All right. Let's get this done and get out of here. We've got the typical symptoms for no power. It's not lighting up at all. It's pulling a few watts from the wall. So give us about 20 minutes here, and we'll have a working HomePod. Herman's going wild in the chat. Either the cat or the kids got the keyboard. Here we go. First up, some fresh filters to keep the farts away. Beautiful. Let's get that dead diode replaced. Another 46K over here. First time I've struggled with one of those, and goodness. Okay. Got that cleaned up. Let's get this put back together. This HomePod was put here to make me struggle today, huh? There we go. I guess I've done 6 or 7 HomePods in this one stream, so I'm definitely feeling it now. Coffee wearing off, no kidding, man. Autopilot got disengaged, my guy. My brain knows that we're almost done and it's like already given up. Come on, the finish line's right there. My wife was saying earlier that she can tell what part of the HomePod I'm at just by the sound of the screwdriver. I think that is hilarious. That's the kind of stuff I'd pick up after she would do nail clients for so long. any dust on that ribbon cable, it would probably be fine, but Apple has a history of nonsensically arranging their pins, and for all we know, that little piece of dust could be sitting between 5 volts and a data line. And zap goes the HomePod as soon as we turn it on. Alright, the moment is finally upon us. Can't believe it took us 2.5 hours to fix this one HomePod. Looks like it's got power.
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet.
Aren't we all? Beautiful. Folks, that's everything that we can fixed up. I hope you all enjoyed this live stream repair, and I'll catch you in the next one.